Greetings to you viewers. My name is Pastor Yvonne Chipindu. As we are still continuing in a strange place, remember, in a strange place, everything is new. Remember, our God is a God of new things. Even when Jesus came, He came with new laws. He took us away from the Mosaic law, and He gave us new laws. God, even in Jeremiah, He said, the new commandment that I am giving unto you. Even the scriptures in Corinthians, it tells us that if any man be in Christ, behold, he's a new creation. He wants us to be a new man. He wants us to live our old ways. He wants us to live a new life. Like if the scriptures tells us that if any man be in Christ, the old has gone. So now Abraham, when he was told to leave Haran, God was telling him to leave his old ways. When Jesus came and He said, you have heard, but I say, He was telling us to live the old life, to live the old man, to live the old nature, and live in a new life. So, child of God, isolation is not even bad for you. It is actually good. Why? Because this is the secret place that David told us in Psalms 91, that those who dwell under the shadow of the Almighty, those who dwells in the secret place, he goes on to tell us that those guys that are in the secret place, they are fixed. They are not moved. So when you are isolated, God is making you stronger. He wants you to be fixed. He wants you to be stronger by His word. And He can only do when He is one-on-one with you. God is telling you to leave your friends. God is telling you to leave the influence that you get from your friends. He wants to lead you into the real way, into the holy way. So, child of God, when God is isolating us, it is actually good for us. It is giving us more time to pray to God. When you are in a situation and you feel all my things have gone, I no longer have a job, I no longer have friends, God is giving you this time, this chance to have time with Him that will build your spiritual men, that will even build your spirituality, that will even make you mature. Remember, in this kingdom, it only takes the mature to overcome. So we need to be mature. But how do I become mature? God has to isolate us. God has to bring new ways into our lives. God has to give us new laws. Remember, He said, unlike the laws that you were given by Moses, but mine, God's laws, they are now even in this day printed in our hearts, so that no one is going to tell you do this or don't. So what I am trying to say, child of God, in this strange place is a new place for you. Everything is new, and know that God is with you, because this is what He wants. Like I said, that the foundation that we need is the foundation of Jesus Christ. Remember, even the scriptures, even the gospel itself, he had a foundation. It had the foundation of the prophets. You know what made Hannah to get Samuel was that she was in a strange place where she didn't have a child, yet Penina had, and she had to isolate herself. Imagine if she had not isolated herself, she was not going to get a child. So that isolation made her to have an intimate time with God. She made her to have a relationship with God. She made her to look only unto God. If you are isolated, your friends are not there, your parents are not there, your family is not there, it is only you and God. So Hannah chose to isolate herself so that she will be one-on-one with her God. And what did her God do? He never put her on shame. He actually gave her the real thing that she was looking for, because she took time to be with God. You know, if you are isolated, you will never have a chance to be weak. Because if your parents have been providing food for you, now you need to work for it. Now you need to look for it. You need to do other things that you were not doing. So when you are in an isolated place, you actually become stronger because God is with you by your side. When you are isolated, you don't have your team, you are working alone. Everything that you are going to get, you will know that it is God who gave me. It was not your friends, it was not your parents or your relatives, but it was only God. Why? Because it was only you and God alone. Like Abraham, when he was telling, even if he's about to tell us about the riches that he got, he never got them from Lot's father. He got them from God. Why? Because God had told him that I am going to bless you. So now, child of God, when we are isolated, God is there to give us all the things that we need. Why? Because we are only looking unto him and we are not looking unto our friends or our relatives. Remember the scriptures, it tells us that God will supply all our needs. In that isolation place, that's when God is going to supply everything. In that isolation place, that is when God is going to give you protection. Like we said, if you are in the secret place, you are fixed, you are stable. Nothing is going to move you. So when you are isolated, you can actually see that there is no way to go. I am here. I am going to stay here. I'm going to be used to this strange place. It is going to be my place. Why? Because there is no one to turn to. You can only turn to God, and when God is there, all our things are covered. So, child of God, this is what we need. We need to be isolated in order for us to have a good fellowship with our God, in order for us to have time for our God. Because when we have friends, we don't even time for God. We have time for our friends. When we have our families around us, we don't even have time for our God. We have got time for our family. So, child of God, what you need, separate yourself. Give yourself to God. Isolate yourself. Move away from the world. Move away from everything that is in the world and have time with your God, and all your things will go according to God's plan because you are following God's direction. All we need is God's direction, not our friends, not our direction, but only God. If you remember the story of the two prophets in the Old Testament, the younger prophet and the older prophet, God gave a word to the younger prophet, and then he goes on to the older prophets. But because he was not mature enough, he followed the message of the older prophet than of God. So, child of God, if you are isolated, you don't have those people, but you only have God and you can only follow God. So don't be like that young prophet, but you need to follow what God tells you to do. And if you have enjoyed this message, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share. Until we meet again tomorrow, as we are still continuing in a strange place. Stay blessed.